I had the privilege of listening to Ajit a few months ago at a Health Heroes event, and I really liked the story about the water. So I read about it a little bit, and I've now been drinking about 4 glasses of water every morning, which has helped reduce the acid reflux, and it also helps me with my hiking because I guess the better the muscles are hydrated, the better for hiking. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I've been in finance, working for high-tech companies right here in Silicon Valley. And I've been the CFO of several companies, and I retired as the CFO as Monolithic Power Systems, which is a public semiconductor analog company. And I'm currently on the board of Rambus. So my story is I was always reasonably active, thought I ate pretty well. Yeah, I had a little more weight around my stomach than I would like, but I felt I was pretty fit. Then I started getting these bouts of, I started losing my words, if you will. Like I'd start a phrase and I wouldn't remember how to complete it. And then it started getting worse. Start saying, I ate an apple, and I couldn't remember the word for apple or bread or whatever it was, basic stuff, nothing new. And it was the same thing even in my mother tongue. Then I started getting to the point where I'd start saying something and then I couldn't remember what the heck I was trying to say. So it was progressively getting worse. And every time I went to my GP, my gynecologist, they'd all say, yeah, as women get to menopause or nearing menopause, this happens. Housewives are happy with it because they don't notice. It's just you professionals. You get all uptight about it. Just relax. But I just kept feeling this wasn't right. So I kept looking for a solution. And I was luckily referred to Dr. Narasmat. And he said, let's get a complete baseline. So I got a blood test done by Boston Heart Group. I got a coronary heart scan, coronary artery scan rather, a carotid artery scan, a GI map test, which is a complete test of all my gut, to say what's a good bacteria, bad bacteria. I got a sleep apnea study, an ultrasound of my liver. And the result was basically, and he also had me tested to see if I carried the gene for Alzheimer's, which thankfully I don't have. But then it turned out my cholesterol was very, very high, and most of it is my own body producing it, not what I ate. And I had very little calcification in my arteries, but my soft plaque was off the charts. And that meant basically what I was figuring out as a cognitive and verbal decline was basically my carotid artery was getting blocked with soft plaque, and it was restricting the blood supply to the brain. And all this vagueness with words and difficulties with words and phrases was just the way it was manifesting itself. We also found that I had sleep apnea, and I never snored, so I didn't think I had sleep apnea, but I had the kind where you choke and you don't have air going in, which could also have been a precursor to a heart attack. I was not a diabetic. My A1C levels were very normal, but my insulin resistance levels were very high, which meant I was on a path both for heart attack and as well as diabetes in the near term. So the many things that I did at that point to hack my health was I went on intermittent fasting, 16 hours no food, 8 hours of food, but I only eat as much as I would have in those 8 hours. I don't compensate for the 16 hours. A keto diet, which is high fat, moderate protein, and very little of carbs. I started taking fish oil to reduce my cholesterol instead of taking statins. I cut down on my gluten, obviously. And then I got an oral device to help cut out the sleep apnea, something like a mouth guard. I started taking resistant starch to help my gut flora so that there's more of the healthy stuff and less of the bad stuff. And everything put together, basically, by doing all this, and then I started hiking. I hike at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I take bulletproof coffee, which also helps me. So as a result of all this, I don't have a problem with my words. That whole problem just went away. I've lost a lot of abdominal fat. I lost about 12 pounds, but almost all of it came from the abdominal area. My metrics are all much better. And one of the biggest things that I did was gratitude for the life I'd had and the journey I've had so far, the opportunities in career, the friends and family, the ability to get control of my health. And of course, right now, I'm also grateful for having this opportunity to share my story.